Today is March 14th, Pi Day, as I make this video. Albert Einstein was born on Pi Day in 1879. Today we're going to go into body language of Michael Irvin in old school mating dating analysis. Now, what we're about ready to see here today, this is not really bizarre mating ritual at all. No, this is just standard run-of-the-mill stuff. But because Michael is rich, it is news. So that's why we're talking about the body language of Michael Irvin in the hotel lobby. Lest this be a cautionary tale for all old school citizens. We have been in a new era for a long, long time. Okay, so before we get into the body language, but actually you'll be watching the body language the whole time I'm talking. All of it is pretty self-explanatory. But Michael Irvin was born in 1966. He's definitely old school. He's definitely under the influence of alcohol here. Michael was married in 1990, probably to a wonderful woman. I don't know them personally. But it is apparent by this video that he is far, far past the 7-year itch. And as a male athlete, 57 years old, he is actively drinking and on the prowl for women who find him sexually attractive. I would guess that between the ages when he was 35 to 45, he was still having a high level of success in the endeavor of the mating game. But something happens to not only athletes, but something happens to men after they get over 50 years old. Their sexual luck is diminished dramatically at this point. So after 50, success depends on the size of your bank account and not the size of your, let's continue. So what we basically have here is we have a super male athlete who is closing in on 60 years old. He's not having the luck he used to have with the opposite sex. And if you are an enlightened one, let's look into ourselves before we go any further. If you are going down the right path, if you are trying to be enlightened, you would feel compassion and love for an aging athlete who is struggling with losing his sexual prowess. It's not easy growing old. And at the end of this video, when you see Michael is slapping himself, it's all too apparent. And let's talk about something positive that could happen from this story. Sometimes events like this can be good. I repeat, good. Because the subject who is suffering, that would be Michael Irvin, can take a closer look at himself and make a decision not to drink anymore because it will only drag his life down. He may realize, after looking deep down inside of himself, that it's better to live in the moment and with someone by his side who can protect him from gold diggers and other demons. So here we are at the point in the video where Michael is just meeting her. You see he's closing in, he's sizing her up, he's shaking her hand, he's trying to touch her elbow, she's stepping back. What did Michael miss coming right out of the gate here? What did Michael miss? Well, he missed her short hair. Her short hair should have told Michael, face it, dude, she's not into you. Furthermore, he's had a few drinks and he did not notice that she keeps on stepping backwards as he tries to impress her with his male dominance. And Michael is flirting with her. He's preening. His back is straight. He's pushing his chest out. He's using hand movements. This is all part of the mating-flirting game. He's trying to establish his male dominance. And we cannot see it, but Michael is probably licking his lips, and this would be normal behavior when you are with someone you find attractive and it makes you nervous. Hip movements. If you watch, that would be another clue. While watching this video, we should be watching Michael's hip movements, because He's feeling quite at ease here. He's had a few drinks. He's loose. Look at he's loose. He's moving around like an athlete. He has open posture. This is a big clue. Michael's open posture is a big clue that he is attracted to her. Her closed posture, hands behind the back, is telling Michael, I'm not into you, or possibly not into men in general, but his alcohol intake prohibits him from recognizing these clues too quickly. It takes a little extra time because Michael's had a few drinks. And then, is this where he starts to slap himself? Let's see if he hits himself here. Somewhere around this point, he's figured out he struck out. And in the old days, it would just, that would be it. You know, you struck out, no big deal. Which leads us, this would be a good point to talk about the cautionary tale for anyone born before 1969. Us old school people. I was born in 1962. I know all this all too well. That's why I'm trying to teach people with this video. And again, if you were born before 1969, you are definitely old school. And you will clearly remember how our society was touchy-feely back then. Joe Biden gets criticized all the time. You hear about it all the time. They criticize Joe Biden for being touchy-feely. But that's how we were back then, okay? That's how we down-to-earth, working-class Americans were brought up in the 60s and 70s, and even before that, when Joe Biden was being brought up in the 50s, I guess. I mean, we were a touchy-feely society for working-class people. Americans would slap you on the back, touch your elbow, bang your shoulder, slap each other on the butt. This was normal old-school behavior. I grew up with this. Put sports into the equation, and then the behavior is then on steroids. Bottom line, old-school Americans were not afraid to touch each other. And why shouldn't we be? Why should we be afraid? We were not brought up in Buckingham Palace. We didn't grow up in no damn palace. But that was back then. Most of us were from working class society. And then, if you got lucky, like Michael, you got into sports, you got rich. He was very talented, very physically capable. He's got a lot of money, and that's why we're talking about this. This girl sees a payday. She sees a big paycheck because Michael was flirting with her. Which brings us to, again, to further this cautionary tale, it brings us to the snowflakes of today. And this is what I really struggle with today, being from old school. These children, these kids today, I call them snowflakes. I don't even have hardly any words to describe these snowflakes. They're so sensitive. They feel like they're all artists. They believe the rainbow community is special and the old school is dirt. They grow up in a society where the teachers are edging them on. Did he touch you? Did he touch you? And the little kids are not stupid. Little kids they find out that what are these teachers teaching them? Did he touch you? Is your mom and dad hitting you at home? Oh, you got to tell on. Oh, you're so special. You're so special, you little snowflake. And these little kids grow up to be just that. They grow up to be snowflakes. They grow up like little fragile snowflakes. And if you touch them, they will just melt away. Lest this be a cautionary tale. The young people of America are a lost generation of snowflakes, waiting to melt away in the collapse of the empire. The good news, another good news, is that when the empire does collapse, that the new generation that has to grow up in our country after the collapse, they will be a hardier generation, the generation to come. Maybe they're being born right now today. I'm sorry if I went into too much detail and the younger people cannot understand this. That's okay. In summary, what we have here is an aging athlete who is struggling with his testosterone. He's still attracted to beautiful women, but maybe beautiful women are not attracted to him as much. He's struggling with this, his open posture. He's flirting with her, but she, as you can see with her short hair and her hips are slightly enlarged, she's not attracted to Michael at all. She's stepping back. She has a closed posture. She eventually puts her hand behind her back. She feels threatened by his male dominance because, well, like again, she's from the Snowflake era. She's uncomfortable. How dare this man find me attractive? Whereas back in the 60s, a woman might have been flattered that Michael found her attractive and would have been able to say, okay, Michael, that's as far as you can go right now. I have to, but the snowflakes today are not trained on how to back people off. Men are going to be men. Boys are going to be boys. Even if they're closing in on 60, they are attracted to women. Normal men are attracted to women. In the old days, women were able to back them off. They had the skills. Today, the snowflakes don't have these skills. Today, I'm done talking about these snowflakes. It gets on my nerves. So I hope you had a happy Pi Day on March 14th. And remember that Karl Marx died on Pi Day in 1883.